Thanks for tuning in to Season 2 of the Hollow Points Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And what do we do, Coach?
We accept the challenge of providing dangerous, thought-provoking, and sometimes controversial insights into life's most common topics.
Get your mind right, yeah. Get your mind right.
How do you think your life would be different if you had different people? I believe that God is the orchestrator of everything, and everything happens for a reason. So I think if you had different people in your life, you might go a different direction. So if you had different parents or different friends, and just one tweak of your life, it could go a different way. Do you think that if you had a different wife, you'd have this different life?
Yes, from a holistic perspective, that's a simple answer of yes, because everything means something. There was a movie a long time ago, I think it might have been the early '90s, called Mr. Destiny, and the premise of the movie, it was a white comedy or yeah, it was a comedy. But anyway, the situation was when he was a man and he was feeling down on his luck at a bar, drunk or whatever, and feeling like how did he end up this way? And it was kind of like a Christmas Carol, where the ghost of Christmas past tell you what it would have been like if you wasn't here, that type of shit. But anyway, the guy came to him and said, I can change your life. And instead of you having this regular wife and regular kids in this regular house working at the factory, killing them for the OT, it could be different. And he took him back to when he was a child. It was a championship little league baseball game. And he struck out and they lost the game. And when he took him back then, instead of him striking out, he hit a home run and they won the game. And it basically showed a series of dots that was somewhat linear. And basically each dot led to, think about a sky full of stars. And there's a line going from star to star to star. Well, when you hit this star, it goes this way. It could go that way, this way or that way, right or left. And it went that way and it changed the whole trajectory of his life. And now he was a millionaire. He was married to the prom queen, but his kids didn't listen to him. He had all this bread, but he didn't have that peace and that tranquility from a stable home and somebody that really loved him for him. His wife was with him for the money and all that. Well, even though him and his wife didn't have as much tangibly or financially in his old life, they had each other and they had love and they knew what they was there for. So a lot of times you can think the grass is greener, but the water bill is higher. I think for me, like not having my dad around, I don't opine over not having that dude, and him not throwing me the football or taking me to shoot jumpers and all that because I'm so good with the plan. Because one thing I'm definitely is humble to the plan. Now, of course, there's times in my life where I try to go against the plan that God had because I thought I was smarter than the situation. And then he laughed at me and he humbled me. And then I came back on board. But I think when you get into a situation where you start thinking, if I hadn't got my knee hurt when I was playing football, I could have went to this school and could have possibly did this and could have possibly. Everybody got that story, man. If I hadn't got pulled over and ended up going to jail, I could have been at Harvard, or I could have all that coulda, woulda, shoulda. If it was a fifth, we all be drunk. You know what I'm saying? Because all them ifs, but then you start forsaking the fact that you got this little
Right.
kid or this son, this daughter. Your boys ain't your boys if things don't break that way. You know what I'm saying? Your situation ain't your situation, the good parts of it. Because you can't just think, I'll do this change. I'll have a wish from a genie and go back in life and change this one thing, and it'll only take away this bad stuff, but I'll be able to retain all the good stuff. That's short sighted and fanciful for a grown up to think like that. But kids think like that, and people that are immature, not satisfied with life, that are childlike in their life, they think like that. I've become able to accept the situation, accept my lot in life, and then humble myself to when things start going the way I didn't think that they was gonna go. I gotta calm down and pray and say, wait a second, is this part of the plan? Should I be cool or should I be fighting this? And a lot of us are just resistant. Like you said, you a believer, I'm a believer. Some people are resistant to the plan or resistant to that level of belief because it's not what they have comprehended or how they would have done it. But I think I'm in a situation where I look back now and say, man, man, if I had had the wheel, we would have been them crap.
Okay, so do you think your partner is responsible for your success? The
No,
partners that you have.
no, no. I
So,
think
but you just told me that all of those parts had to line up for you to be where you are. Aren't they
they
responsible?
no, because here's the situation. I think they ancillary characters. So here's the deal. You whatever movie you watch, we just talked recently about The Usual Suspects. There was a fucking stand-in or an extra that was on the dock because they needed dock members. That movie didn't happen because of that dude. You know what I'm saying? But without him being there, it would have seemed weird that the dock was empty. You know what I'm saying? Or the police station had people walking around. I don't remember none of their names, none of their faces, but it would have seemed weird if they wasn't there. Some people play
But a
major roles.
partner is more than just an extra character.
It depends on the level of partnership. Some people is team members, and some people is co-workers. You dig? Like yeah, I've had some bros in my life that was absolutely co-workers. You know what I'm saying? And worked with me on projects to get better and advance my career and their career. And I had some women in my life that was team members. I was still hitting, but they was team members. They was teamsters. So there was no real union. You know what I'm saying? Pun intended. But but you have to understand it's a statement that people make. You know, people come to your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime, and you
Hmm.
have to evaluate where this person is. I think the thing that makes it different for I think everybody. I used to think it was just black folks, but it's everybody. When you start having kids with folks, now they locked up. Man, good, bad, or different. I know recently my mom asked me when the last time I talked to my oldest daughter, mom, and I was like, what is she, 21? 3 years ago.
Right.
so but that's our situation and circumstance, and it's about adding value. Who can add value? Who can bring you to that level of peace or to that level of serenity, or bring you up, level you up? If you got people that's leveling you up, like they say, you need more people. You need people that's always leveling you up, and you identify those who really can't do nothing for you, or they're always the recipient. You know what I'm saying? So in this
Okay.
situation with my ladies, with people that was in my life, my mates, I had to make an evaluation of what's the net here? Because it ain't always financial. I think some people think, man, if I got with this chick and she made 300,000, man, we would be straight. Okay, well, how does that work? In fact, how does that work? How are you straighter? Because her dollar figure didn't have shit to do with her personality. Didn't have shit to do with her. Like you
Right.
talked about this chick and started with her dollar figure. That's not your dollar figure. And when you start thinking like that, I think you destined for failure because you was basing it off of something that's going to fluctuate either up or down over time. But if you base it off her values and whatever you was raised to think is right, that stabilizes itself a lot longer over time. Because money comes, money goes. Things happen, man, all the time. So, and even if you're a woman and you listening to this, whenever you think about, I want somebody that's taking care of me, for how long? Because because to take care of you and taking you out to what's the fucking what's the place the old girl said don't take her to? Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake.
Take
Yeah.
you out the cheese, yeah, take you out the Cheesecake Factory, and taking you to places where they open the door and they got the cloth over their forearm and all that. That's all cool. And you've been there to go on trips and going to Dubai and all that. That's all cool. What about 5 years from now? You only really want to go to Dubai, what, once or twice? Nobody got a timeshare in Dubai. Like, what the fuck? So, so some shit ages differently, and you got to really connect with somebody that's gonna age well with you. And that's, I think people, it's easy to be perfect for a little bit. It's easy to be, in that moment, create the perfect scenario. That has a bad shelf life. It just don't last. It's got to be puts and takes. That's why it's in the vows. Better, worse, richer, poorer, all of this, sickness, health. Like that's literally in the vows because they know life gonna come up on your ass if you stay long enough with this person.
Right. Yeah. So
So
if you're saying so, a good woman is responsible for your success, though, right? Some of it, not all of it, but they have a hand in it. Like they threw the
yes,
assist.
yeah. So think about a racy, right? A racy is responsible, accountable, involved, or informed, and consulted. So
Hmm.
responsible, accountable, informed, and consulted. As you go up the ladder, I don't think anybody is ever are in a relationship with me. Nobody's ever responsible for anything, even if it's me not being hungry, because I can go and feed myself. And that's chicken soup for the soul as well. I have to take my own responsibility for my own level of happiness and serenity and peace and comfort and financial stability and all that kind of stuff. I have to be responsible. She can be accountable. You need accountability buddies. You need someone that's going to not let you talk crazy, think crazy, do crazy, keep you on the straight and narrow. That's what a real spouse or a real woman or a real man does is they call you on your shit and they make you accountable for what's going on. Hey, that don't make sense. Why are you buying your sister another car, helping your sister buy a car and she done fucked up her credit? Do you understand how credit works? Somebody can pull your credit down like a
Right.
drowning person. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
So you have to
do you
have
know
that.
what a
But she was
cosigner is? Yeah, that's the
right,
person
right,
who is actually signing for it because you didn't qualify. A lot of people don't know
right.
that. They think that
Exactly.
they the backup. No, you're the primary. They
You're the
already
primary.
told this person no. So that's just
Yeah,
a
you
lesson
just
to those
bought
people
another
who
car
are
and put
trying to
her name
co-sign.
on it. Yeah, you bought
Right.
another car and put her name on it. When it's been proven based on the math that she's not responsible. So I would prefer to help you build your credit back than to just sign off stuff on your behalf. That's ignorant. But
Yeah.
you need that person that's willing to be like, no, I can't. Yeah, we can't do that. That don't mean you no good. You need that person, and I think that's the accountability. So no, I don't think anybody I've ever felt was responsible for who I've become or how I've become or what I've become, good, bad, or indifferent. I think that my mama, my grandma, ugh, that shit, that's tough. I do think my grandmas and my moms, like people that raised me in those influential years, they are
Yeah.
responsible for a lot of ways that I move. They respond, and it's not intentional. It's not
Well,
always intentional. It's not always.
didn't your cousins and everybody have the same influence?
But here's the situation. Um, Everybody don't have the same palate. I don't like spicy. So, so, so in the idea of something was said, my ears perk up different than the other brother ears perk up. The other cousin ears perk up. The things that I
Hmm.
absorbed, they didn't absorb. We talked about it recently. You could say something, and I take it for what it is. The other man is going to be offended that you have the unmitigated gall to say that or to bring like I said, you keep me accountable. Like man, come on, dog, that's soft. Now, if I was really soft, me and you ain't got shit to say to me again. Like, how dare you come in and call me soft because I have on these fuzzy because I have socks on with a ball on the back.
Hmm.
No, nigga, that's soft. Don't do that around me.
Right,
Save
around
that for
me.
when I'm not over here.
So
Y'all feel
your
like
grandparents said that to all of y'all, but you
yeah,
absorbed it.
I did.
They influenced everybody. I don't think
They
they're
did.
responsible. I think, like
But
you said before, I think you're the only one responsible.
I think the lessons tend to marinate and shape. It's nature versus nurture, right? The nurture part creates a level of exposure expands expectations. When they expose you to certain things and expose you to what's not going to be allowed, you talking all crazy to grown folks and cussing in front of old people and all that kind of stuff, that is responsible for how I carry myself. Because if I was allowed to just cut up and be a fool and raise my fucking self, so many people let their kids self teach and self learn, and he'll figure it out when he wants. He'll potty train himself when he's ready. Are you fucking crazy? This is ignorant. That's
How? Right.
ignorant, man. Because they don't want to be responsible. They want that child to be responsible for itself. It's a fucking baby. A baby, by definition, can't be responsible for itself. It requires you to be the responsible party. So, with that being stated, my aunts, my moms, my grandma, they was responsible for me. And it made me in turn realize what was important to be responsible for myself. It started with them. After I got past a certain age, I'd be damned if I put something on some. If my laundry ain't getting done, that's on me. If I ain't getting fed or cooking, that's on me. Like at a certain point in time, the Bible says you raise a child enough in the way in which you want them to go, and then they won't depart. They'll, they always had that baseline. And so that's why I'm gonna give them credit. I'm gonna give them old ladies credit. for being responsible enough to make me understand what it means to be responsible for my damn self. Because you got all of them. I remember Chad Ochocinco said the other night that his grandma would be like, "I wash my hands." You gonna have to live that. You gonna have to sit in that. I'm washing my hands of it. I done did all I could for you. You fucked up. I done wash
Yeah.
my hands. And so I think that that's what I mean when I say they was responsible, which made me in turn be responsible. But it started with them. With these hoes, it didn't start with them at all. It was all me. Uno, nuno.
Okay, then I got a true or false for you.
Okay.
You would be a deadbeat dad had it not been for your partner at the time, your wife.
I'm gonna say false to answer your question.
False.
I, let me
False.
explain. Let me explain. Let me explain. A lot of motherfuckers talk big, bruh. They talk big early, but you know what you built with and what you capable of. I think a lot of people talk big. I'm gonna go back and say true. I'm gonna say true because I'm stubborn and I stand up shit and I ain't gonna let nobody punk me or use, things to manipulate me. And so I might have let my pride ruin me early on in that, which would have led to all of these symptoms that could be diagnosed as deadbeat dadism. So yes, I
Yeah,
agree
yeah. I
with
mean,
you.
it
I
would
agree
it
with
would have been an opinion, but
you.
you would have
I
been
agree with you on that.
perceived by
Yeah, I would have been.
some
You're right.
as a deadbeat dad,
Right. I agree. I agree.
which is easy for men to do. I know a lot of dudes who are, and they just
Mhm.
really playing defense.
Right.
But if they had someone to kind of help them through it when they was going through the rough times, they probably wouldn't have been, and the child wouldn't have suffered as much.
I'm gonna say this because the child suffering that's different. Because I mean, my dad wasn't accountable, responsible, informed, or consulted. But I don't feel like I don't feel like I suffered in that regard. But what I will say is this: the irony of that is I'm so much more judgmental on dudes that do it twice, 3 times, 4 times. It bothers me when you see this dude with this kid and with this woman, and he that dude, and you start thinking, and shame on me, not on him. You start
Hmm.
painting this picture of him that he's a good dad and he's a good husband and he's this and that, and then you find out this motherfucker got 6 kids by 7 women. You know what I'm saying? And don't see none of them, and the court got 2 of them, and all. You like, whoa, fam, what happened to the rest of your seeds? And then they like, man, she was. Oh, so wait a second. So you had a tendency to pick girls that be tripping, and then you happen to find one that don't trip or else that put up with your shit, and that's why you a good dad. That's unacceptable. But if it's a situation where the circumstances were such that this chick was tripping, and you had to take a step back because you didn't want it to escalate and become a situation where it went to jail or it got real bad, and you were still doing what you need to do, because regardless of what the situation from a visitation perspective was, the money was gonna get paid. The kid wasn't gonna be without insurance, or I wasn't gonna at a certain point I'm not gonna revoke my or rescind my parental rights. Like your kid 4 and you going
Yeah,
to fill out paperwork that you don't want to be a
right,
parent. They shouldn't even allow for that shit.
right.
But the moral of the story is, I think that to me, the deadbeat situation is twofold. It takes more than money to raise a kid. I think anybody that's just putting money in, if your kid in boarding school, all that, you're not a great parent. I don't give a fuck what you're
Right.
telling yourself. Parenting is an interactive sport, and I think with my girl, it was a situation where she was like, if you can't figure this out with your baby mama and that kid, how the fuck I think you gonna figure out something with me, a stranger? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And that made sense.
It
That
did.
made sense. So she made me accountable. She made me accountable in that regard. But I had to be responsible for making it happen and figuring it out and going through the bullshit while the bullshit was hot, because she didn't have nothing to
Right.
do with it. I couldn't bring her into that drama. Some people get excited about that. We don't
But
really
it's the
like drama.
support. Right.
Yeah, it's the support. Yeah, absolutely. It's not only the
So,
support. It's the what I'm gonna put up with. You know what I'm saying? Women don't realize the power they have over creating boundaries and thresholds. And man,
yeah,
I'm not accepting. anything less than whatever, that's reasonable.
Right.
Now, when you say I'm not going to accept you not taking me to 4-star or staying at 5-star Michelin star restaurants, 5-star hotels, only island vacations, you tripping. Unless you can give me a dossier of how you've always lived that way. So therefore,
I don't even care about the dossier. It has to be with me. I'll take you to a
I
5-star.
like
I'll
that.
take you to a 6-star restaurant, but
Right,
it's
good
not
make
gonna be
point.
on the first date.
Right,
It's go. You
right,
gotta
right,
work your way up to that. You gotta mean
right.
that much to me. So is
I
it
think
safe to say that if
go ahead.
you
Say it again.
is it safe to say that if you have a woman that is trying to move you away from the kids versus pushing you toward making them successful in life, that's not a good woman?
It's not a good. It's two things. It's not a good woman holistically, but it's also an extremely selfish woman.
Hmm.
It's a what am I? Everything that's going out of the home ain't being retained by the home, and she's thinking only about the home. She's thinking only about her kid with you or her situation with you, not about the future of you and something that you created a responsibility towards. And that's unfortunate. Now, what she thinks she's telling herself is she's protecting you from this drama that this chick is bringing, not realizing you chose this drama chick. The one thing that I never act like was I didn't choose this chick and be with this chick for 3 years and know some of this was kind of underlying. It wasn't like she woke up one day and was schizophrenic and was a different person. She had a lot of these tendencies that I thought I could coax or support out of her, and I failed. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we just lost. You can prepare, you can work out, you can have a game plan, and sometimes you just lost. And this was a situation where I had to throw it up. Man, I just lost because I reflected on the game plan and everything. Like, man, what could I have done to make this a better situation? And then it was maybe it might have been two or three here or there, but then I thought over the grand scheme of things, I just lost, and I got to take this L. And so I took the L, but I was taking it to where I was. You could lose a game, but not have to fucking quit the team. So when I was like,
Yeah.
man, I done lost, I'm thinking about just quitting altogether. She was like, no, nah, you a player. You play. You figure this out. You
Get in
get
there,
traded.
coach.
And you know, yeah. Yeah, she GM'd me. She general
All right,
managed
all right.
me.
Let me take you a
So,
different direction. You said the
okay.
dad wasn't there that much. If
Mhm.
he was there more, how do you think your life would have went?
I think the perspective on, I think the way to become a good parent, because one of my focal points is being a great parent. And so the two ways that I think I've experienced the best parents is people that had great parents as an example, or, and there is no middle ground in my observation, it's either people that had great parents as an example, or people that didn't have shit for parents and was like, I'll never be this motherfucker. So they have a list of don't do's instead of a list of
Right?
do do's.
Yeah,
They got a
exactly.
list of don't do's, and they
Yeah.
determined I ain't gonna never let this motherfucker even think that we alike. I ain't gonna let this dude think I was just watching an interview not too long ago with DeMarcus Cousin and Kevin Garnett. And he was like, when he was in high school, a girl said that he had a baby by her. It was his shorty, and because of his relationship with his pops growing up, he was determined he was gonna be there for the shorty. The shorty was living with him, taking care of it, everything, and he was even thinking about not going to Kentucky to play basketball. Ended up being, I think, the fifth pick in the draft and all that because he was not gonna be his. He was gonna not be his dad to his core. And then on his visit to Kentucky, the doctor ended up calling his mom's, and the paternity test had come back because his mom had been on him about the mama's babies, daddy's maybes. Um, and when the test came back, the baby wasn't his, and they freed him up, and the rest is history. He, played at Kentucky,
Dang. Hmm.
lottery
Yeah.
pick, went to the league, that kind of stuff. But the thing behind that is he was so determined not to be his pops that he was gonna forget everything else that was going on just to make sure he wasn't that dude. I think a lot of people walk around with that residue, and I think it benefits the kids that are the recipients of it. That I'm determined not to be like you, like this dude, because they get all of the goodness. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of family curses where people just can't help but to be what they've seen. and what they've been around and what they've been exposed to. And they don't even realize it, but that's the programming that has occurred. And they find it to be acceptable because
Yeah.
everybody's this way. Like when I was a kid, I remember when I got to college, man, we was driving to the mall, bro. It was me and five dudes, and we was in a Buick. My man's had a Buick, and we're driving to the mall. It's an ignorant story, but I think you'll get where I'm coming from. We're driving to the mall in a Buick, and it was the first time in my life that I heard somebody say my parents, and I fell out laughing. He was like, something, man. I know if I want to get these shoes, I'm gonna have to call my parents. And to hear it in real life was so funny
That's
to me.
TV talk.
Yeah,
Right.
it was so funny to me. And I realized I never hung around dudes that had parents too. You know what I'm saying? My mom's, I heard that a million times. My pops,
Oh yeah.
I heard
Yeah.
that a million. My old lady, old dude.
Yeah.
I never heard somebody in real life in front of me say my parents that was black. And man, I chuckled, man, I laughed so hard. And they was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" I was like, "Man, this dude just said his parents."
Got two people at the house.
Man, crazy. And we in college. You know what I'm saying? So it's that kind of deal. But I think that if he had been more of I'm always quick to evaluate the equations of any formula, because if you change one component, it changes the whole formula. So I don't really go back and people say don't regret things. I don't regret this or that, or look at if this had happened, that would have happened. That wishful thinking type stuff don't really get you nowhere, in my opinion, because it's what leads to so many excuses in the hood. If I hadn't did this, I remember I had a cousin, man, he got like 11, 12 kids. But my aunt always thought if he hadn't got with this one girl, he could have been an astronaut or a fucking neuroscience. He could have never been none of that. But in her mind, she
delusional.
ruined everything.
Right.
Man, put it all on black. She put it all on old girl. And I always, that always stuck with me. And I just don't want to have people that have that kind of power over me, because that's where excuses are born. When you point fingers and it's always somebody else, sometimes you got to sit down and say, what could I have done to affect the situation? What could I have done to make this better? And once you evaluate that, a lot of times you realize, damn, I let this shit go too far. Man, I let her talk too reckless. I let, too much money get spent too early. I let her start the pace of these fancy restaurants. And now when I go pick up Arby's, she got her ass on her shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
So do you think kids can mess up your success too? Like, what if you had different kids?
Yeah, I think that it depends on what you consider success. A lot of us black folks consider success to be tied with a dollar figure or a bank statement or ATM receipt. And you got kids that are fucking drain. Kids are the greatest investment you'll ever make that may not pay off. They might die, get killed, just not be shit. And it don't have nothing to do with what you put into them, what you exposed them to. Y'all could have went to all the parks and then they could have went to all the camps, and you could have got all the magicians at their early birthday parties, all of that. And some kids is just fuck ups. You know what I'm saying? Just like you'd be like, man, how did this happen? You got brothers where one of them is a double PhD, and the other one is in prison for double murder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dang.
Grew up in the
Double
same house with
PhD and
parents.
double murder?
Yeah, with parents. You know what I'm saying? So,
What's that saying you always say? Can't get right?
man, can't get right. Yeah, got a case that can't help it.
Can't help
Can't
it.
help
Yeah, can't help it.
Yeah, just can't help it. So, but I think that, so that's always different. I know my brother and I are diametrically opposed. We have two polar opposite personalities because he absorbed all the excuses that life threw our way and was bitter about it. And I ain't even recognized them. Like, I didn't even acknowledge him like that. Like, yeah, it was like that, but man, that ain't got nothing to do with going forward. Not having a phone or not having cable and people talking about you and teasing you and all of that. Man, you know how many people you just got to be smarter. Some people fold and some people stand up. You know what I mean? And so I think that when I look at life like that and say, okay, with the kids, you could get a kid to get in trouble, and you, with all your energy, with all your heart, do everything you can to pull them out or to try to pacify the situation. the best thing you could do for your kid is fucking recognize who they is. That is the best.
Dang.
Recognize and accept who they is. Because they can't be you. I done seen it from coaching high school sports. So many people want their son to be them or their son. I had a woman one time drop her son. I was coaching, this was the sophomores. I was coaching and she came up and she said, I can't think of her son's name at this time. It was years ago, but she said, "Hey, I heard such great things about you, and you so great with these boys, and all this and that. And I want my son to come and learn under you, and I want him to be strong, and I want him to be." She gave all this list, like 4 things she wanted him to be. Self-sufficient and aggressive and mature and this that. And then the first thing I said to her was, "Has he ever been any of that?" And she was like, well no. Oh, well, I coach football. I don't know if you know. Maybe you think you're speaking to the guidance counselor on the road. Like, I coach high school football. I can help whatever you putting into him blossom even further. But I can't insert.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just with him a couple hours a day. And I'm with him and 35 other kids. Yeah. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what she thought she was ordering, but it was a bad order. Because you can't let somebody, like Carl Barkley said, I'm not a role model. You can't let somebody else raise your kids and put something in them. You got to kind of plant that seed and then put people around them to water. That's how you got the people that hydrate that situation. That's what a good parent does. So, but I know that if my oldest daughter that's in college, if she dropped out of college, everything that I've spent, I was willing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got no problem. Me and her ain't got no beef. We ain't got no problem. You went as far as you could. Yeah, if you go back on your own. It ain't gonna start. I ain't gonna start the tab up again or no shit. Like, you don't owe me nothing. Man, you had a good run. Congratulations. I ain't even expect you to do this. You know what I'm saying? Because she's always been kind of a folder, quitter. She's not been a finisher. Let me say that. And she getting it now. But I always had that understanding that I'm not going to try to impose who I am and what I do. What they got to understand is you can't live like this. If you didn't grind like this, have time like this, and shine like this, you can't live like this. And as long as you good with that. And she said yes. She shook her head and said yes. But I don't know if she believed it or not. But I'm not about to supplement. A lot of parents try to supplement their kids' life. There is no reason for me to be going to a foreign country and my kids is grown and I'm paying for them to go with me and the missus. What the fuck is we doing? Like, this should be a gift.
You gotta stay.
It ain't even the situation where they need to gift it to us or we have expectations that I don't also think my kids is a retirement plan. Like, I'm good enough to retire on my own. I don't need a double plan. Like me and them. And I'm staying with them and all that, unless I'm planning on helping them out with what I done built up. But to feel like they owe me because I took care of them, how do you think parenting works? Like, what's the definition of parenting to you? Yeah, it's not an investment. It's not an investment for your kids ain't a stock. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these parents really feel like I raised you and I fed you and made sure you wasn't hungry. Oh, parenting? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you owe me when you make it.
You signed up for that. They never signed up to take care of you for the rest of their life.
That's what,
you signed up for 18 years and you want them to sign up for the rest of your life.
Man, but that's the program. That's the programming. When you make it, I need a little pinch off that. You know what I'm saying? No, that's loan
you owe me
that
forever.
Ain't parenting. Yeah, man.
Right.
So yeah, so that's the tough part. But I think, like I said, whatever she got going on, she knows clearly my expectations and what she got to do, and I'm willing to assist in any of that with a clear picture. But she done came and said, I need this. I know it's last minute. And I'm like, no, I'm straight on that. No, I'm straight. You got to figure that out. That poor preparation on your behalf does not constitute an emergency on mine. I can't do it. And she know me enough to know this ain't me playing radio or being fake or what. This is how I've always lived. And this is why I'm so comfortable in my life. This is why I'm content with how things go, because I don't let it frazzle me. I'm not an impulse buyer and all that. I don't let life shake me up like that. I'm pretty even. But with your kids, they can, if you let it, you can lose yourself in that child. And what I've seen a lot in my life at times is the grandma or the mom that put stuff up for the bail money, knowing this motherfucker guilty, knowing that he gonna skip bail, knowing that, but you don't want to hear what the streets say about you or church say about you because you didn't, spend that $17,000 on the best attorney for this dude to get 20 to 30 years anyway. It's just like, golly, that's so stupid to me. But you got to live with yourself. What I hate when people do is when they make decisions and their kids encumber who they could have been or what they feel like they should have been, and then they blame their kids inadvertently. They blame their kids kind of in how they carry themselves. They resent their kids because I could have been prom queen if I hadn't been pregnant with you. You know, you know that
So
new
they
Jack?
blame the kid? You're right.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely,
You
absolutely.
wouldn't have survived in my stomach.
Yeah, right, right. I had 3 scholarship offers to Division II schools, then I got pregnant with you. Like you wasn't worried about hooping there. You was out there hoeing. So yeah, your priorities was messed up. So,
Hoping and hoeing.
that's right. But I think that's so in that regard, yes, kids can sidetrack you, but as long as you're doing it because you want to do, I think doing anything begrudgingly is a sin. Anything. Even giving a motherfucker a ride. If you doing it, you like, God, I hate giving this. That's a sin. Anytime you going against the spirit telling you you don't want this ain't what you got. Man, don't do it. Don't do nothing begrudgingly for me. Tell me, no, I ain't up on that today, or I ain't feeling it, and I can respect that. But when you start doing stuff just because you feel obligated or entitled, you got to lose that. And with the kids, you obligated to feed them and clothe them and keep them safe and all that other stuff. But you ain't obligated for the new J's and the PS7 and all this other stuff. And then
Right.
kids feel entitled. And kids will turn on your ass like bad dogs. You know what I'm saying? You know, man, I'm feeding you a housing man. You gonna turn around and
Right.
fight me?
Yeah,
Kids
that's
do
how
that
it
shit
goes,
too.
though. You're supposed to buy me the PS8. You bought the
No,
PS7? Right.
your kids do too much counting, bro.
Whoa, time out, time out. That's our time for the day, but stay tuned for the conclusion of this episode.
I get your mind right, yeah. I get your mind right, yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.